Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Edge Sports Network. We got another interview for you guys today, part of our summer series. We got Kekoa Nawahine, Boise State safety, just finished up his career there. Kekoa, thanks so much for joining us here on the site today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Great to have you on. Looking forward to this one. You're our first guy we've interviewed from Boise State, so should be a great interview. I want to start in your early days here. What kind of made you want to play football in the first place?
Oh, I've known ever since I was a kid and could pick up and catch a football that this is what I wanted to do for most of my life. I knew that I wanted to play in college and, hopefully eventually in the NFL, but times are kind of crazy right now. No camping announced or anything like that. But yeah, ever since I was a little kid and could pick up a ball, I knew that I loved the sport and wanted to keep playing it.
And you started at an early age here. Did you always kind of want to be a safety, playing on defense? I know you saw some time at wide receiver back in high school, but were there any other positions you kind of considered?
Yeah, well, all growing up until I was about a sophomore in high school, I played running back and linebacker. My favorite player when I was a kid was LaDainian Tomlinson.
Good choice.
Chargers. So
Good choice.
I always loved being a running back. I always thought it was really fun. And then when I got a little bit taller, a little bit leaner, I made the switch over to safety and receiver, and I loved playing those positions too. It just made sense for me. So I always knew I wanted to play safety or receiver. When I got offered to Boise State, I was offered as an athlete. So I didn't know if I was going to be a safety or receiver, and then the new coaching staff came in, and the defensive coordinator told me I was going to be safety, so I was ready to run with it.
Yeah, you kind of had everything going for you on both offense and defense. I know you were first team on offense in high school, second team on defense. You're a really good offensive player. In addition to your defensive skills, I was just going to ask you, I didn't know Boise State offered you as an athlete, but did you kind of receive any offers anywhere else at the wide receiver position, or were they all kind of for defensive back? And what made you choose to kind of stay on the defensive side of things?
Yeah, Boise State was actually my only offer. They were my first offer, and I knew because I was a local kid. I had grown up watching Boise State. That was kind of like my dream school to be able to stay local. I have three little brothers that were all younger than me. I wanted to be able to watch them through high school and their sports and stuff. So it made a lot of sense to me, and I was ready to commit as soon as Boise State had offered. So they were actually my only offer. It did surprise me when the new coaching staff came in and the D coordinator told me I was going to play safety. He had been to one of my practices in high school, so he had seen me and he wanted me to play safety. But I always thought I was more naturally, everything was just a lot easier for me on offense. But I was like, all right, let's do it. I'm ready. I love safety. I loved both positions, so I was excited.
You obviously have had a great career at Boise State. Just finished it. And I gotta ask you now, when you end up playing for kind of the dream school, a lot of guys will grow up, they know they want to play college sports, but, I'm sure they all love the school at which they play at, but it might not be the school they grew up watching, the school that they have loved kind of their entire life. When you're in that situation, what's the emotion like right there? How do you kind of feel going out there every single game day, being able to put on the jersey that you grew up loving?
Yeah, it was just surreal, it just made me extremely grateful to be put in the position that I was in. Being a young kid watching it, going to the games. When I was I can't remember how old I was, but I was probably freshman, 8th grade, sophomore year, somewhere in there. We went down to Georgia. Me and my dad went down to Georgia to watch BSU play Georgia. And just the kind of way that I looked at these players and at this program, I just thought they were on a pedestal, you know what I mean? And then getting there and being on the team, it just all felt kind of surreal to me that I was out there playing the game on the field, on the blue, and there's little kids watching me thinking the same thing, you know what I mean? So it made me extremely grateful for the opportunity, and just made me want to make the most out of it every day and every practice and every game, just not taking anything for granted, I think was the biggest thing for me, and understanding the platform and opportunity that I've been given and how I can give that back to younger kids.
Oh, for sure. The atmosphere that you guys have up in Boise is phenomenal. Personally, I think it's one of the best atmospheres in college football. Seats over 36,000 people, and football is huge up there. So I have to ask you, when you're playing in front of, thousands of people, I mean, what is that like? What's that atmosphere like, especially with the football culture up there? And I mean, do you kind of notice it out there when you're on the field, or does it just kind of blend in and you just kind of get used to it?
Yeah, it's pretty electric.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've played in some stadiums, some bigger stadiums like Oklahoma State, Oregon State, Washington State, these places that can seat a lot more people, but
Mm-hmm.
there's just nothing quite like playing at home, and especially on the blue. Like the atmosphere is just pretty electric, and um, kind of when you're in the zone, you don't really notice it as much, but then maybe after a play or after something good happens and the crowd's just going crazy, it's just those are the kind of moments in football that you live for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Is just being able to feel that kind of energy and have the home crowd and everyone's going crazy. And those are definitely the type of moments that I'll remember the most from
Mm-hmm.
my career at Boise State, is just being able to be at home and everyone cheering you on and the crowd's going crazy. You make a big play, and yeah, it's hard to describe the type of
Yeah.
feeling that comes from that, but it's one that will stick with me forever.
Oh, I can only imagine. I mean, that just must be a great experience, especially doing it for the team that you kind of just grew up watching. And, your first season with the program, you kind of got thrown right into the thick of it. You played 12 games. Do you kind of remember your first memory of college football, whether that be a practice, a meeting, something you did with your teammates? I mean, do you remember what it was?
Yeah, I can remember a lot of very distinct memories
Mm-hmm.
from coming back, because when I had came into the program, I had just got done serving a 2-year mission for my
Mm-hmm.
church, and so I was definitely not in football shape
Yeah.
physically or mentally, and so a lot of distinct memories I have are workouts where I was just trying to push myself and just dying, never having felt that kind of exhaustion before, or just feeling overwhelmed mentally. But one of the biggest things that sticks out to me, well, there's two moments. One was just walking out of the tunnel for the first time
Mm-hmm.
on game day, and just being able to experience that on a player's perspective was pretty amazing. Running out and the band's playing and the crowd's going crazy. And then the second one was my first time going out and playing safety, because I was on special teams, and then I would get rotated in at safety sometimes. But my
Mm-hmm.
first time playing safety on the blue was against Utah State. I just remember getting out on the field, looking up, just seeing all the fans, and just really capturing that moment. It was pretty insane for me. So those were the two biggest things that I remember
Mm-hmm.
distinctly, is running out of the tunnel and the first time I set foot on the field as a safety.
I mean, running out of the tunnel for for the first time in a college football game, I could imagine that's pretty. I know you mentioned the experience has just been kind of surreal, so I can imagine that's one thing I've always kind of, thought about. Like, how is that first time where you hear the crowd, you're running out on the field with your teammates that you've kind of practiced with all off season, and you're finally, reach that point in the season where it's go time, and you get to do that for the first time. So I'm sure that that's something that's really going to just resonate with you for the rest of your life. I mean, that's just a great, great memory to have, I'm sure. I know, you had a good freshman year, but your sophomore season, I mean, some guys go into a sophomore slump. That was not the case with you, to say the least. I mean, you made 108 tackles, 3 interceptions. Prior to that season, I mean, that's your first off season where you had college experience under your belt. Was there any different types of, training that you did in that off season before your sophomore year to get ready for the season now that you had known what college football was like?
It was just a lot of work with the team in the
Mm-hmm.
off season. It was just a lot of the biggest difference I would say was just the shift in mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Was one understanding that was the position that I wanted to take. There's an older guy there in front of me that was kind of still on the edge of maybe being the starter, but I had started my last game of my freshman year,
Mm-hmm.
but it was still kind of up in the air for grabs. So the shift in mentality of understanding that I needed to take that position, and then also just understanding the game of football at a higher level, at the college level. You know what I mean? Like when you're in
Mm-hmm.
high school, you understand it a little bit, but I had nowhere near the level of understanding that I did, or that I needed to, at the college level. And so spending a lot of time understanding our defense, the changes that we were making, and being able to understand offense so that I could be out there and be kind of like a commanding presence
Mm-hmm.
and the guys around me could have the same type of confidence in me that I had in myself was a big focus and area of emphasis for me. Um, and so a lot of time was just spent understanding the defense, understanding different things, and then just working with the team. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You have off-season workouts with the team all year long. We get 1 month off in May, so a lot of that time was just spent, with the team and understanding what I needed to do so that I could put myself in the position to take that position and be a commanding presence out there.
No doubt about it. You were named to the All Mountain West second team, so clearly you did something right in the offseason right there. And I mean, that kind of was the season that just really, it looked like you kind of got your feet under you in that year, really set the way for the rest of your career. You finished your time at Boise State with 264 tackles, 6 interceptions, a couple forced fumbles, a couple of fumble recoveries. I want to ask you about the safety position. I mean, you made it look so easy in your time at Boise State, but what is kind of the hardest part about that safety position, especially when you're playing, these receivers in the Mountain West Conference that were so good this year, and you're playing D1 football, a whole new level compared to high school and stuff. What's kind of the hardest part about making that adjustment, and what's that hardest part about the safety position?
I think I would say the hardest part, or maybe the most important part about the safety position, is the understanding of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Once you're at the D1 level, everybody's athletic.
Yep.
Everybody's an athlete. There are guys that are clearly more than others, but you're working with a lot of people that are athletic, and the way that you're going to separate yourself is on the mental side of the game. And that's
Mm-hmm.
a lot in college. That's a lot in the NFL, and that's even in high school. You know what I mean? Like, the people that are athletic and then understand the game are really going to set themselves apart. And so
Mm-hmm.
at safety, being able to kind of be a field general out there, understand your responsibility plus the responsibility of the guys around you is going to make a huge difference. Because when,
Mm-hmm.
in our defense especially, but when you're at safety, you got to get people lined up. You got to give people the call, any checks that you're going to make on motions, different formations. There's a lot that's going on. And if you're thinking about all those things while you're on the field, you're going to play a lot slower. And that athleticism that you do have isn't going to be able to be put to use. And so the biggest key with safety, and the hardest part in the beginning for me, was just being able to understand everything about the game that I needed to.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? First, that starts with understanding what your responsibility is. Second, that starts with understanding what the responsibility of those around you is so that you can get them lined up, you can give them the right call. And then once you understand the defense, being able to understand what an offense wants to do. So a lot of it is film study. A lot of it is having confidence in yourself that you're going to make the right call, and giving that confidence to those around you so that you can play with the athleticism that you have. You can play fast, and you don't have to think about a lot of things. You just know, because you've repped it so many times in your mind, so many times in practice, that everybody can go out there and can play fast. That was the biggest thing and the hardest thing for me. Obviously as well, you got to be able to cover. You got to be able to come up in the box and make tackles. There's just a lot of versatility, especially nowadays, to the safety position, to the nickel position, and being able to do a lot of different things. So that's what makes it fun, is there's a lot of different challenges. But I would say definitely one of, if not the most important thing, is the mental side of the game, and understanding what it is that you need to do and what it is that the guys around you need to do, and what the offense is trying to do to beat that.
So is it kind of safe to say, when you go into practice and stuff, when you're in film study, stuff like that, that's the time where you really have to think about things and just kind of, break things down and think about, all right, I'm going to do this on this play, look for this on this play when I'm watching film. But then once you get out onto the field on game day, you just kind of let the instincts take over.
Yeah. You definitely have to rep it over and over again throughout the week, throughout practice, so that when you're out in the game, you see those things quick. You don't have to think about it. You just react and rely on your instincts. Yep, I would agree.
All right, perfect. Yeah, I mean, your success and your team's success, I mean, was phenomenal in your career at Boise State. You guys played in your fair share of bowl games when you were up there. I mean, I have to ask, what is the atmosphere like in those games? I know you guys come from a home stadium where the atmosphere is crazy, but when you're in those bowl games, stage is a little bit higher here. I mean, what are those games like?
Yeah, those games are really fun. The whole experience of those games is really fun. You typically go out almost a week early. You got a bunch of different things going on top of practices. So the whole experience and the environment is really fun. My freshman year, I'd say there was some extra nerves around it because it was
Hmm.
my first start
Yeah.
at safety, and we were playing against Baylor, and
Yeah.
so there was just a lot of hype surrounding that, and I was really excited. But also those nerves come in first time you're doing anything, and
Hmm.
especially when you love something so much. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of nerves surrounding that, and then the game didn't turn out too well for us. But it's still a fun experience.
Hmm.
Then my sophomore year, the Vegas Bowl was really fun. Like I loved everything about that.
Hmm.
Able to play Oregon in Vegas, weather was perfect, just the whole environment. Like those are just fun games. And the week leading up to it, junior year got canceled because of rain
Hmm.
and thunder, like a thunderstorm. And then senior year, I mean, once your last year, you kind of just appreciate everything that's going on, every single game that you get, and being able to play in the Vegas Bowl again against a great team like Washington. It didn't turn out the best for us, but just another great experience. So I love the
Hmm.
bowl games. I think they're really fun and a really good experience, even the whole week leading up to it.
Those seem fantastic. And also, championship games. You're no stranger to those either. Mountain West championship game this past season, you guys come out, beat Hawaii 31-10, to take the conference. I would assume that it would have been special, in any season. But to do that in your final year, second to last game of your career, how special was that win to you?
No, that was. I mean, that was pretty amazing to be
Hmm.
able to say my last game on the blue. We were able to win a conference championship. I was able to get an
Yeah.
interception in that game. Just a
Hmm.
lot of things to be able to kind of have as my last little stamp on my playing time on the blue.
Hmm.
It meant a lot.
I mean, that must have been fantastic. And you guys went 12-2 in that season. And it was after a loss to Fresno State 1916 in the championship the year prior. So I can only imagine, that must be very tough, very frustrating. After that loss to Fresno State, what was kind of the mindset after that? I mean, did you guys kind of use that as motivation?
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
Well, honestly, anytime we lose on the blue, we use that as motivation. We take a lot
Yeah.
of pride in winning on the blue. And I mean, we lost on the blue and we lost in the conference championship in overtime at home. You know what I mean? And so that
Hmm.
one stung a lot for the whole team, especially for a lot of the guys that were going to be seniors like me.
Hmm.
Just using that as motivation and understanding that we wanted to play in our conference championship at home again, and that we, you know what I mean, making the most out of this game this year, not having a repeat of last year. So definitely used a lot of motivation and kind of said it's our goal every year, but had a little bit behind it this year, or yeah, this past year.
Yeah, you guys bounced back. Obviously, as we mentioned, got the win over Hawaii this year, so got your redemption in your senior season, which I'm sure, as you mentioned, extremely special moment. And I know, off the field, you had a great career at Boise State on the field, but off the field too, prior to Boise State and, after your career here, you've done a lot for the community. I know you mentioned a little bit earlier, you briefly touched upon that mission trip that you took, but for the people that don't know, I mean, what'd you kind of do in that mission trip right there, and what'd you kind of learn from it?
Oh man, I mean, I learned so much from that trip. It's just
Hmm.
anytime you have an 18-year-old leaving the house on his own,
Hmm.
going out somewhere far away. I mean, I served in Canada, but you can serve all over the world, and really have to grow up,
Hmm.
understand what it is that they want, and just figure out a lot of things. And the biggest thing that I took away from my mission is just my relationship with God. And I mean, not to be like super religious or anything, but that's one of the biggest things that I hold near and dear to my heart is my
Hmm.
relationship with God and my relationship with Jesus Christ. And that's kind of set the platform for every decision that I've made in life,
Hmm.
and everything that I've done from there. When you're out on your mission, you just, I mean, I can speak for myself,
Hmm.
but generally, it's just, you're just out there to serve people.
Hmm.
You're out there to. I was out there. I wanted to go out there because I felt like it was what God wanted me to do, and I wanted to go out there and share the same type of things that have brought me happiness with anybody and everybody. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And whatever way, whatever form that comes, whether that comes through teaching them the same principles that I'd been taught, or whether that means just doing yard work for them, helping them move, whatever it was, just serving people anytime you have an 18-year-old that leaves the house for 2 years with that type of mindset, I think there's a lot of good things that can come from it. Definitely
Hmm.
one of the hardest things I've done in my life.
Oh yeah.
But I would never take it back, never regret it. I would do it over again in a heartbeat. So I loved it, and just being able to, it was definitely one of the most fulfilling times that
Hmm.
I've had in my life. And kind of that's another thing, kind of set a precedence for me is that's what I want to continue throughout with my career is being able to provide those experiences for others, just being able to give back to
Hmm.
people because I feel like I've been given so much in my life, just being able to whatever it is, however my path lays out. But I've always wanted to start a nonprofit of some sort and where I'm just helping people and just doing a lot of things where I'm making the most out of what I've been given.
Hmm.
So
You certainly
kind of a
use.
roundabout way to answer your thing. But
Oh yeah, I mean, no, you certainly use your platform in a great way, and I think it's always nice to just kind of take a step back from things. I mean, here you are, you got a lot going on, you got school going on, you got football going on. Always nice to just kind of take a step back from everything and just kind of, do those small acts of kindness, as you mentioned, like, for example, cleaning a yard, as you said, but it's those small things that can go a really, long way, in people's lives and stuff. So, I think it's great that you went on that mission trip for 2 years. Just kind of helps you, I'm sure, as just an all around person, stuff off the field. You learn a lot from it. And I know I've talked to a few guys who have done a lot in the community, and one thing they say that's been the most beneficial, or one of the most beneficial things out of community service, mission trips, giving back or whatever, is they also learn a lot of things from the people that they help and stuff. So, I mean, was there anything you really took away from those people that you helped and that you kind of learned, maybe tried to implement not only on the field, but just in your personal life?
oh yeah, I mean, I would say there's so many things. I think there's something that you can learn from everybody that you're around, and
Mm-hmm.
some of the biggest things that stuck out to me was just the kindness and I don't know how to say it other than like non-judgmental
Mm-hmm.
outlook that they had on me, and that the kindness that was shown to me. I had a lot of families on my mission, or a lot of different people that just took really good care of me. And I mean, these are
Mm-hmm.
random kids that they really don't know all that well, and they're just out here taking care of me and giving me a lot of yeah, I mean, I don't know, kindness. Sorry, I keep
Mm-hmm.
using that word, but it was just a lot of kindness that I showed, that they showed me, a stranger, that I always appreciated and kind of wanted to emulate in my life, because you never know what it is that someone's going through or
Mm-hmm.
whatever they got going on in their life, and if you can make a difference in their day by being nice to them, that's not that difficult. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? That's something that we're all capable of. And so just that kindness and hospitality that was shown to me, hardworking. I mean, there's every single attribute under the book that you could name that I'd learned from different people that I've met on my mission and just throughout my life.
Always great to have those experiences. Always good to just kind of, meet as many people as possible, learn as many things as possible. And I know, not only did you do that mission trip, you know, outside of your community, you also have been doing work inside your community as well. I mean, I know just recently, you held a clinic for high school football players. We got a pandemic going on right now. A lot of things have been thrown off. Can you just kind of walk us through what you worked on with those kids in that clinic? I mean, what you kind of try and pass on to the next generation, the kids that are coming up, maybe hope to see themselves playing for Boise State someday?
Yeah, no, so yeah, like you're saying, there's just a lot of uncertainty with times that are going on, especially with
Mm-hmm.
high schools, colleges, this is every level.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so what I started doing is I started training kids. I do position specific training, either individual or group.
Mm-hmm.
And I figured something that I could also do outside of that for anyone that's willing to work and just come out and compete is hold Saturday sessions where anyone's invited in high school ages, where they can come out and do one-on-one, 7-on-7s. And so this last Saturday was my first time doing that. There was a really good turnout. We were able to do one-on-ones and 7-on-7s. The news came out and did a little piece on it. And so it was really good. I want to continue moving that forward, just get some different things going. I've had some people reach out to me to be sponsors. And so I got
Mm-hmm.
some different ideas on maybe like offensive player of the day, defensive player of the day, get a little package, whatever
Mm-hmm.
it is, just different ideas like that to continue growing it. I really just want kids to be given the opportunity to come out and
Mm-hmm.
to compete against other kids in the area, because a lot of times we're just going against kids on our same team until we get into season. Compete against other kids in the area, have opportunities to just do different things and learn more about the game of football. And to me, just to coach wherever is possible so that they can help them understand. You know what I mean? If I was a kid in high school, I would have been all over the opportunity to come out on a Saturday and to just have 7-on-7s. There's a ex-BSU guy there that's coaching, putting it on, whatever it is. So I just want to kind of do something that I feel like I would have liked in high school, something that would have helped me, and just give kids the opportunity to compete, to get better at the game, to have fun. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we play the sport, we play the game because we love it and it's fun, it's rewarding, all these different reasons. But just getting back to that, having fun. And, I told them on Saturday, there's a lot that's out of our control with everything that's going on with this virus and everything that's going on in the world. There's a lot that's out of our control. All we can do is focus on what's in our control, what we've got right in front of us, and making the most out of it, how we respond to different things that come up in our lives. So that's kind of my focus, and got a lot of plans to keep growing that, making it better. But yeah, I'm really excited on where it could go.
Yeah, again, I think it's just those, little things, especially in a time like right now with all this uncertainty and stuff. Just, holding those camps for the kids, the high school kids and stuff, really gives them something to look forward to, kind of something to work on. And as you mentioned, just really trying to get them to just improve their skills, kind of just go out there, have the chance to do what they love, and that's football, and just kind of have a cool experience. Maybe just kind of give them a moment to just have some fun in a time where, there's not really a lot of fun going on right now. We don't have sports. We don't have a lot of things, kind of a new normal going on right now. So I think that's great for the community right there. It really brings it together. I know you kind of mentioned you're trying to get kids from, all around the area to come in and play. So I think that is fantastic for sure. Best of luck with that as you continue that, and with the sponsors and stuff. I think you definitely have some really good plans for that there. But to close up here, oh yeah, no problem. To close up here, I want to end on two questions. The first one, a pretty fun one. The second, you might have thought about it, you might have not. But the first one here, if you could intercept any quarterback, past or present, who would it be and why?
I'd probably have to say Tom Brady.
There we go.
I think he's arguably one of the best to ever do it. And, I've seen him play. There's a lot of quarterbacks that you say are great and amazing, but they're just out of my time. So just being able to watch Tom Brady play and his understanding of the game, his level of play, I think it would be pretty amazing to be able to say that. I'd picked him off, so I'd have to go with Tom Brady.
No doubt about it. I know any defensive guy, usually, we'll mix up the questions a little bit, but we'll always ask a defensive guy, if they're in the secondary, who would you intercept? If they're in the front seven, who would you want to sack? Usually the answer is Tom Brady. Tom Brady. So, that's been our most popular answer for sure. Everyone's going for the top dog. I know he has a target on his back, let me tell you. So, yeah, he better retire soon because this next generation coming up is coming for him. But,
yeah.
So my second question for you here to wrap it up, you're in a unique spot right now, just finished up college, still young, still got plenty of time to kind of decide what you want to do in life here. Football, professional football, still an option. Seems like you really like mentoring young kids, coaching, doing things for the community. So what are kind of your plans for the future here? What direction are you kind of leaning towards?
Well, currently right now, I know that my direction is still leaning towards football in some type of capacity. My first and foremost goal is to still continue playing at the next level. Hopefully when camps get announced, I get an invite and I'm able to make the most out of the opportunity. So right now I'm just keeping myself ready. It's like I said, controlling what I can control. I can't control whether I get an invite or not, but I can control whether or not I'm ready. So that's my focus right now. Staying ready for hopefully an invite. If not, continue training kids, maybe start some different things haven't thought too far outside of that. That's kind of just the way that I operate is, okay, here's my first and foremost goal. I've had to start thinking about it more and more because of everything that's gone on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe there's not camps, maybe I don't get a shot. Well, then I want to keep training kids, see where that can go, see what I'm able to build from that. But I know that the direction that I want to take as of right now, as of currently, is involving football, just because I've spent so much of my life learning about the game. It just seems like there's a lot of information and knowledge and things that I can share with upcoming kids and upcoming generations that could help them.
No doubt about it. I mean, you've set yourself up in a great position for it. Certainly any guy that has a career such as you did at Boise State, a school like Boise State, sets himself up in a pretty nice spot, gets him on some radars for sure. So hopefully everything can get back to normal here. Hopefully, camps resume. Best of luck to you right there. I know, everyone's kind of waiting to see where the NFL goes. I know some things are, kind of unclear right now. We just had the NBA, MLB get things kind of situated. So NFL next up. So we'll see what happens there. But great mindset, honestly, just to kind of take it day by day, control what you can control. I think that's something everyone should try and live by, especially in these unprecedented times. But Kekoa Nawahine, thank you so much for joining us here on the site today. I mean, it was great to learn a little bit about your career, a little bit what you're doing off the field. We'd love to have you on again, but again, thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem at all. We'll put your Twitter down below so that people can stay updated with your post-playing career in college here and see what the next step is for you. And we'll also put a link down to Boise State's website so you guys can follow for news and updates as we always do here on the site with the teams we cover. But guys, thanks so much for joining us here on Edge Sports Network for another interview in our summer series. And as always, we'll see you guys next time.